This is Team 5 with James, Lauren, Sarah, Brendan, and Priya presenting on the prototype testing of AntiFog. In this presentation, James, Priya, and I will be going over a brief description of Prototype 1, as well as our reflections on how the testing went. Then Brendan and Lauren will give a brief description of Prototype 2, as well as their reflections of their testing experience. Now here's James with a description of prototype number 1.
Thanks, Sarah. The design of Prototype 1 is a physical barrier that fits between the nasal bridge and a face mask. This prototype is made from a dense but lightweight foam material. The choice of material provides density without additional weight. A low-grade adhesive on the bottom edge of the prototype forms a seal against the user's skin. Another layer of low-grade adhesive is applied to the top edge to seal the face mask to the device. This double seal design of Prototype 1 diverts respiratory vapor away from the nasal bridge and out the side of the face mask. This prevents the vapor from settling on the user's glasses and fogging them. Overall, prototype testing was successful. This was a challenging process. Of the people polled to participate in testing, very few actually wanted to try the device. It was difficult to find people to interview. There was a definite interest in a solution for people who were wearing eyeglasses, and this is encouraging for further product development. With such a short time window, it was difficult to find locations and exact demographics, and I believe that a more robust testing effort would have produced more accurate results. Our sample size was relatively low. During testing, it was apparent that our choice of adhesive would have to be revised. The adhesive was not comfortable on the skin and seemed to attract debris when it was placed in a purse for storage. Also, this adhesive didn't create a reliable seal to the fabric of the face mask, and this is a critical flaw as it allowed small amounts of air to pass through. If I had to make any changes to the prototype testing, I definitely would have devoted more time to the actual testing and getting feedback. I feel that time constraints limited the locations and the amount of people that we could interview. This limited the pool of users and it might have skewed our results one way or the other. Another change I would make is how we ask the questions. Initially, we asked questions that were using a sliding scale for responses so that we could analyze the results. But users actually had more to share about their experience. So then we switched to more open-ended questions to capture more of a broad experience. And now here's Priya for her reflection.
Thanks, James. Here, I would like to share my experience. Interviewing a student was very fun. What went well was the student was very helpful and answered all the questions promptly. Student felt that this device can solve problems of day-to-day activities. What was not expected was unsuccessful of placing the device into pocket, and it damages the shape if it is placed anyhow, and picked up lint from purse and the customer was not very pleased. What changes to be made is, I think, instead of using foam, it can be replaced with silicone and prevent it from falling. Second, to make a tutorial video for those customers who had difficulty in using this device. And lastly, I would like to provide a safeguard to device like a small bag that can prevent its shape and it can be placed into pocket or the purse. And now I would like to pass it on to Sarah to share her experience.
Thank you, Priya. In regards to what went well, I thought everyone who tested the AntiFog seemed genuinely interested in the product. And even though it wasn't perfect at staying attached to the mask, the AntiFog did very well at preventing people's glasses from fogging up. As far as expectations go, the adhesive did not create as many benefits as expected, but instead created more deficits. It irritated the skin, made the AntiFog difficult to pull off, and made debris stick to it. So in order to improve the AntiFog in the future, I would change the foam to silicone so that it would naturally stick to a user's face without an adhesive, and so it would not have as much debris stick to it. I would also consider adding Velcro to the top so that the AntiFog can more securely attach to face masks. I'll now pass it off to Brendan to describe prototype number 2.
Prototype 2 is very similar to Prototype 1. Prototype 2 is also a physical barrier that fits between the nasal bridge and a face mask. This prototype is made from thin plastic that is approximately 3.5 inches long and has a low-grade adhesive on both sides to attach to a face mask and seal it to the skin. Similar to Prototype 1, this prototype has a double seal design to redirect respiratory vapor away from the nasal bridge. However, with less material, Prototype 2 is designed to have a thinner, barely there comfort fit. Due to less material being used in the construction of Prototype 2, this will be considerably cheaper for consumers to purchase compared to other substitute products that are currently on the market. Now, I think the interview process went well. The 3 people that Lauren and I interviewed were very interested in our prototype, mostly because they themselves suffer constantly from fogging up glasses while wearing a face mask, and was excited that we were developing a product that could relieve their troubles. What was unexpected about these interviews is that all 3 found the prototype uncomfortable to use and wear. This, in fact, was very surprising to me because I had tested the prototype on myself before the interviews and found it comfortable to wear, which was strange. So I became a little obsessed with this. So I asked additional questions to find out why these people thought it was uncomfortable. And according to the interviewees, the plastic was too thick and not flexible enough. And when they moved their nose or their face, this would cause discomfort. I took their opinions seriously, and now I am developing a redesigned prototype to address this issue. Now, we mainly chose our interviewees based on how well they fit our target segment and customer demographics, aka you have to wear glasses. However, the next time we do a questionnaire like this, we should widen our scope of interviewees to include people that do not wear corrective lenses, but people that wear any type of eyewear, including sunglasses, eye protections, and stuff like that, because these people are also suffering from the same pain points as our main customer segment. Now, some additional interview questions I asked were, what did you find appealing about this prototype? And their answer was, it was cheap and small and could fit into like a purse or something like that. And the second additional question I asked was, how much would you willing to pay for this prototype? It kind of varied in their answers to this, but usually it was on the cheaper side because they could tell it was made from cheap plastic and they didn't want to spend too much on it. But they were willing to pay a considerable amount if they just fixed the problem of fogging up their glasses. Now I'm going to hand it off to Lauren, who's going to discuss her reflection on the interview process.
Thanks, Brendan. I also really enjoyed doing these testings. I think that it's really important to be able to go and have people touch and look at the product and make sure that it's not just something that we think is great, but something that other people think is great as well. I think the idea was widely accepted, and people liked to talk about the frustrations that they experienced with fogging glasses, and were happy to discuss a possible solution. I think the idea of Prototype 2 was also very well liked and had the potential of winning over many future customers. Unfortunately, I think the issue that we ran into was comfort. I realized that the plastic in our prototype was too thick and therefore was making those testing the prototype point out the discomfort in wearing a mask, specifically with our prototype. Comfort is a priority with this mask, especially for people who are going to be wearing it for a long period of time, such as healthcare workers or essential workers, or really anyone working in a public setting. So making sure that it's comfortable needs to be the first thing we focus on. I was also taken back by the customer that told us initially that they were disinterested in the product. I know that not everyone has the same pain points, but if you wear glasses, fogging just happens. So not caring or wanting to fix it was surprising. But I understand, like if you don't wear a mask super often, such as working from home and only wearing a mask to go shopping, it wouldn't be as big of a priority, and therefore needing something to fix the solution was not the first priority of this person. I think one massive change to be made would be making thinner plastic as well as adding a comfort component. Something that would make this more comfortable would be a soft foam or silicone, but I do worry about adding something like that just because the materials will keep people from purchasing. So if we add something for comfort, I think that making sure that it's recyclable should also be a priority. To conclude, our job to be done is seeing clearly when wearing glasses and a mask, which both of our prototypes seem to do fairly well. We believe that we are a step closer to achieving this goal and look forward to continuing the process. As always, remember, your face covering protects them, their face covering protects you. Thank you.